Hello, Governor Lamont, former Governor Malloy, and your sources. They have roles with intelligence with East Hartford locations. Note near the airport place by the building of airplanes involved with people involved also with all kinds of natures of conjunctions to New Britain Superior Court, is involved with all kinds of natures and methods of organized crimes, and of putting fake ties and fake natures of ties between people, and attaching little kids to fake conversations with their families and change conversations with them. As people involved with the state corrections offices and Fox Connecticut News, their stories, people that answer the phones for them, have roles with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and the countries involved with the World Trade Center attack, involved with further predicate acts with WFSB attachment to fake conversations with themselves and others. And Weathersfield Police they faked conversations with me at the police station when I was a kid and then as an adult. And they pretended that through the news because they have a whole bunch of people with the intelligence families. When they're little kids, they take oaths, so they're not supposed to do things that they do anyway. There's only three branches of government. They have collusions increasingly with overt criminal enterprises and private ones. They are not legitimately with the acting professors involved also. A bunch of people on Church Street in Old Weathersfield in conjunctive to them. They are increasingly involved with the state judicial branch offices and corrections offices, involved with predicate acts and whole methods of them, with names at and then next to each campus I went. That was facilitated by their roles, other with foreign names too. In other words, and they're putting kids, fake ties, fake natures ties to those around them with the people from off the campuses. And you guys are more World Trade Center predicate acts. Channel 3 News put me in fake conversations with them, with themselves and with others. It's the guilt of the people that answer the phones for themselves in their intelligence roles at that place or next to them. As ones evolved increasingly linked by people in their roles with uses of spots next to the state capitol. There are proofs that they took pictures of me next to a Chet Casper. I never had a word of conversation with him in my life. He's increasingly planting evidences, fake ties, fake digital ties to me, and fake motivations with people, intelligence families that live near me tied to him, and retired mayors, and a whole bunch of people at Harvard Hospital, foreign and domestic, medical families, ones that Anthony Agnew brought up too in confessions, is also involved with police that have been fabricating the fake conversations and ties to kids, and then as adults too. Some Mendez police are involved with them with this, and retired Weathersfield police chiefs with some sexual medical offenders of kids involved with the extended family members for them, involved with criminal enterprises too, Phil Cololo and others tied to him, and the former mayors putting fake things, fake tie. I never saw him on the inside of a campus in my life. I saw him from a distance one time on a campus. There are proofs they took my picture right when he was being handed a watch by one of the principals, recorded increasingly tied to people involved with the World Trade Center attack, including the other countries involved and our own. It's concentrated at Central Connecticut State University with people that are involved with other campuses and child campuses. And UConn is increasingly involved with Hartford Hospital, with overt criminal enterprises and private ones, with the names and business of houses and businesses next to them through time. And next to other campuses, intercities, they have roles with identity theft, fraud, slanders. And you guys are styles of it maintained that way by a breaching method that keeps other things, others, or selves blamed also for nature's demonstrations of that. And the breaching method effectively uses that to measure and maintain self-valued roles with other communicated for nature itself and for America's founders about why and how they did not have free speech, and about why and how they had to counter-extort George Washington and the rest of the presidents and the rest of the founders. The rest of the presidents. They didn't have to counter-extort the founders. The founders were plural behind James Madison and his plan. George Washington agreed to help them and to use that plan. But you guys are not allowing honesty by our founders, what they had to classify for ourselves. And you are also distinctly not allowing honesty regarding the extortion of George Washington, or would have brought this up. So the military has worse than criminal incompetence with the interpretation of history and of wars. They had collusions right through their civil wars with the fact, human nature, torture, extortion, slavery method. So the Connecticut Corrections Offices also has roles with the people from the other countries involved with the World Trade Center as investigators already. All kinds of roles with campuses interstates and internationally. Where and how there, for example, natures of principles and values treatments through an system was tactical ulterior from natures when nature is not only itself as criminal and citizen's nature. So Wethersfield police also switched names and port sequences and refused to provide writing. And all exceptions, exception nature, they have confessions tags that are relative to, because they are and have been making confessions to foreign bodies and to the hyper foreign, that which had slavery entrenched distinctly northern colonies and southern colonies, but also non-distinctly. And it had and has functions by why and how, even though we're non-distinctly hurt by the originally and still by the same breaching method. Everyone only allows people to address how we are distinctly hurt. And dishonestly, because otherwise you would use how we were non-distinctly hurt at the same time to discern that which is true always, that which is hyper, simultaneous, hyper invisible, but still discernible. For example, because the slightest detail is not left out, let alone grouped and simultaneous ones, like with black people's rights of eyes, inseparable from all kinds of subjects with American history. It's only, they leave it apart because they have self-guided rules that measure and maintain. With where and how, we have the names of the people of the sciences, where and how they're actually manifest. Forgiveness is because they were child abused to have self-guided roles. Blaming needs, natures, and styles, blaming other things, to blame other things, others, or self. Even for what our founders it's themselves and nature itself at the same time communicated to us. Nature itself shows us that a human fact, human nature breaching method is one of the things that is true always. Witch trials, Webb House, now renamed the Webb Stevens House Museum. What they are about together at the same time, and slavery at the same time, and that breaching method against with the differences of Native Americans, and leaving out their roles with president/chief, and leaving out their roles with the plural founders behind James Madison and his plan, those who had to counter-extort even George Washington. Black pupils, I'll see the whites of eyes. There's a reason that's like the only thing that every American remembered, the only quote. All rise!